All right, so we got a lot of basil. This is the most basil I have ever picked. This was actually just from that one spot on the garden and came up with a lot. So this is actually Canadian basil from Canadian seeds, and I've never gotten this much before. So now we have all this basil. What are we going to do with it? You probably think pesto when you think of basil, and that's a good option, but something I think is even better is to dry it. So we have our food dehydrator here, and when you dry it, you end up with a really flavorful home-dried basil. And I have some of the dried basil here. This is from my other basil plant that I have right now, my red basil. And this stuff is great. You can put this on pasta, pizza, bread, anything you want that basil flavor. And this is much stronger than store-bought basil, and it's a really great way to basically eat your basil all year round. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is take the basil off the stems and wash it. All right, so these are all done, and this is our basil. So we're going to let this rehydrate for a minute, and we're going to take this up to the compost. All right, now that the basil is all washed, we can start to lay it into these guys. So we will set this to pretty low, maybe about 45 degrees, and then leave it for maybe 24 hours. Okay, now onto the pesto. For the basil, I took as much water as I could out of it, and we're also going to need olive oil, salt, some kind of nut, usually pine nuts, but today I'm using walnuts. And I'm also going to add garlic powder, which I've made myself in the same food dehydrator. Also going to use a food processor for this. You can use a bullet type mixer if that's all you have, but I find it tends to get stuck around the bottom and doesn't mix fully as much. Okay, and that's it. All that basil that we had down to 2.5 jars. But this is very strong, very potent stuff. Smell, it's great. It's almost like hops and quite different than anything you're going to buy. Pesto also smells great, and we're ready to make some pasta, make some pizza. All right, thanks for watching.